The Return of the Indian by Lynne Reid Banks. Chapter 15, Corporal Fickits. We'll have to watch it. Last time I did this, they all just started shooting like mad the second the door opened. So they opened the door the merest crack at first. And Omri put his mouth into it and said, "Don't shoot, we want to talk to you." A very ripe soldierly oath answered him, followed by, "I've gone off me trolley again." "Just don't shoot, okay?" said Omri, and Omri slowly swung the cupboard door open. The corporal had stood up. He gazed around. The machine gun gleamed in the sun, oiled and ready for action. "Blimey, now I'm outdoors. What the hell is going on?" Omri went into his spiel. "Of course, it must seem incredible, but the fact is, for the moment, you've become small. You can tell your grandchildren about it, and it's going to get even more interesting. What we want is for you to tell some friends of ours, who are about your size, how to work your machine gun." "And who are they planning to shoot with it, if it's not a rude answer?" "Well, you see," but it was too complicated. Omri looked helplessly at Patrick. "Who do you shoot with it?" Patrick cut in quickly. The man gave a barking laugh. "Pah! The Queen's enemies and anyone else who looks sideways at the Royal Marines." "And are you an expert in guns? I mean, all kinds?" "You could say so. We're trained to handle just about anything and anybody." The boys gave each other a quick look. This suited them. "Right," said Patrick briskly. "Here's your chance to prove it. I'm going to put you and your machine gun in front of a bunch of men, and you're going to demonstrate how to use it. You'll go through it once, and then let some of them try it. Only be careful, we don't want anybody hurt. This is only a training exercise." The corporal's face had gone rigid, and he stood at attention while Patrick spoke. Then he gave a smart salute. "Sir!" "What's your name, Corporal?" "Fickits, sir. Corporal Royal Marines, Willie Fickits." "How much ammunition have you, Corporal?" 300 rounds, sir." "Don't waste any." "Sir!" "Now don't be scared when I pick you up." The corporal's Adam's apple jumped and he swallowed, but his face didn't change. "Sir!" Patrick carried the man, stiff as a tiny pencil, between finger and thumb and set him down, still at attention, on the platform. At the sight of him, there was a buzz of astonished interest among the Indians, most of whom leapt to their feet. The corporal allowed his eyes to rove briefly across the mass of half-naked redskins, his Adam's apple did a jig at his throat and his eyes popped. Then his rigid expression came back. Meanwhile, Omri had carefully lifted the machine gun out of the cupboard and set it beside him. The nearness of the weapon seemed to restore him. "Begin, Corporal," said Patrick, who found he rather liked giving orders he knew would be instantly obeyed. "Right, men!" Fickits barked. "Pay attention. I'm about to demonstrate the workings of this here weapon. A marvel of military science. I will first break it down and put it back together." "Never mind that, Fickits," interrupted Patrick. "Just show them how to shoot with it." The corporal instantly changed tack. "I will first demonstrate the method of firing." He dropped to one knee, aimed over the heads of the crowd, and fired off a short but noisy burst. Bullets whistled through the air and caused a flurry among the rhododendron leaves. The Indians watched this impassively. They didn't seem to grasp what had happened, but Little Bear leapt up beside Fickits and shouted something. He must have told them that each bang represented a bullet, or with luck a dead enemy. At that, the Indians jumped up and started yelling excitedly and pushing toward the platform. Almost at once, a fight broke out among those wanting to be first to try the gun. Corporal Fickits stared at the scrimmage in dismay. "You'd better get those blightos some orders, sir," he shouted at Patrick above the uproar. "Going on like that it won't do, sir." "It's your gun, Corporal. You give the orders." "Me, sir? Ain't there an officer about, sir, or at least a sergeant?" The scrimmage below was getting wilder. One burly Indian had already laid two others out cold and was scrambling up onto the platform. "You're in charge, Corporal. Go on. Tell them to behave. They'll listen to you." After a baffled moment, Fickets saw that the Indian had laid hands on his gun and was swinging the barrel wildly in all directions. This galvanized him into action. "Take your hands off that gun!" he bellowed. His voice was not that of a corporal, but of a regimental sergeant major. All at once, the howling mob of Indians fell silent. Even Little Bear looked impressed. The Indian at the gun found himself hiked upright by the hair, all Fickits could get hold of, and flung off the platform. "Now then, you bunch of horrible little men," roared Fickits. "You touch this here weapon when I say you will touch it, and not before. Do you understand that? Or you will find yourselves wishing that your mothers had never met your fathers. Is that clear?" There was a profound silence. Even the birds in the bushes seemed stunned. "Wow," breathed Patrick. "That's telling them." Corporal Fickits proved a godsend. He knew a great deal about military hardware, not only machine guns. As fast as Omri put the soldiers into the cupboard, made their weapons real, removed them from their owners, and placed them on the matchbox platform, Fickits instructed his now obedient students how to work them. Soon they had 2 field guns, 2 hand grenades, 3 bazookas, 2 more machine guns, and a small pile of automatic rifles. The Indians appeared to like these best. When they discovered that they could actually run while firing them, it took all Corporal Fickits' newfound authority to keep any kind of order, and even so, it was a miracle that no one got hurt during the training. The boys set up striped twigs and round pieces of trimmed bark as targets. But as there was a limited amount of ammunition, every Indian was given only 5 rounds to practice with. Fickits was uneasy about the larger guns. "Firing artillery, sir, ain't something you do any old how. Any half-wit can blast off with handguns, sir, or throw a grenade, but if you'll take my advice, you'll leave the ordnance pieces out of it. You need a properly trained crew for artillery, sir, not rabble like this lot, sir." "If that's your advice, Corporal, we'll follow it," said Patrick. Corporal Fickits' expression did not change, but he seemed to swell up inside his uniform like a miniature powder pigeon. "Thank you, sir," he said, making it all one word. Little Bear was getting impatient. "Braves no shoot now guns," he said urgently. "Time go back." Omri had been, he now realized, secretly dreading this moment. There was his Indian, not yet fully recovered, no matter what anyone said, about to be plunged into a life-or-death situation. But he knew there was no way to avoid it. People had to do what they had to do. However, that didn't mean Bright Stars had to go into danger. "Can you leave Bright Stars here?" Omri asked. "Yes," said Little Bear. "Leave wife. Omri, take care. Bring old White She-Bear when time comes for Little Bear's son. But no let stab with claw and backside." Omri and the Indian looked at each other for a moment. "Good luck," said Omri. "Need help from great spirits, then fight well. Win against French, Algonquin enemy." "Did the Algonquins help attack your village?" "Algonquin lead, French follow. Now go back, take vengeance." "I wish I could see it," said Omri. "And me," said Patrick, who had overheard. It took some time to assemble the now heavily armed Indian troop and prepare them to leave. Bright Stars directed Omri to bring her some flowers, which she crushed in her hands, producing a colored pulp with which she smeared Little Bear's face in streaks. Others were decorating themselves with mixtures of mud and some other colors they had with them. Every time a bird flew overhead, they all looked up apprehensively. Omri thought they were afraid it might attack them, as indeed it might had the boys not been there to guard them. But Little Bear, after one such overpass, said, "Bad omen if shadow fall on braves before battle." The last Indians were leaving. Bright Stars pool smearing patterns of mud on their torsos. Omri looked at the now murky water in the coffee jar lid. It had a reddish look. Where the sinking sun caught it, he turned away, glad he didn't believe in omens. And that is the end of Chapter 15.